What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, and we have an assortment of injury-related updates from Pete Carroll today, so I thought I'd go ahead and go over it. We don't have the practice report yet. I'll talk about that later, assuming there is one, but I want to go ahead and talk about some of this stuff now because a lot of this stuff goes kind of beyond the actual practice report anyway. It's more talking about the little nuances of these players and their availability and when they might actually be able to play. So, got a few different things I want to talk about here, starting with the big one. This is Condotta right here, and he's got the one that everyone's been waiting for. The Seahawks have officially designated right tackle Abe Lucas as returning to practice. Now, obviously, that means a few different things, and one of the things that it does not mean is that he is going to play on Sunday against the Rams. We need to wait and see on that. It is possible. That's what people keep saying. It is possible. But if I had to guess, it's unlikely. Him returning to practice opens a 21-day long window, and he has to be activated in that window, or else he reverts to season-ending injured reserve. So he basically gets a few weeks to practice without actually being on the active roster. That's how they do things with these players who are injured for an extended period that is not the season. So Abe Lucas, he could play this Sunday. I'm not really expecting it. And you can see that this window allows for a lot of flexibility. He could be back for this game. He could be back for the Niners game. He could be back for the Cowboys game or the next Niners game. Like, we still don't know exactly when he's going to be taking the field for the Seahawks, actually taking the field in a real game. So we're going to have to give this a little bit of time. We're going to have to see how he looks. It's going to be kind of like the Jamal Adams situation earlier this year where we saw him practicing in full and we were still like, we got to take this slow. So we'll see where this goes. What Carroll said earlier was that rehab has done everything that it can for Lucas. There's no point in him continuing to rehab. He's where he needs to be, and we're just gonna go ahead and put him out there. So we'll see what they say later on. We'll see how it looks later this week. But definitely don't get ahead of yourself on Abe Lucas quite yet. This is great news. But there's a difference between practicing and playing when it comes to an injury that has lasted now over 2 months. Okay, there were some other updates as well. This one surprised me because the early word about Dareke Young coming out of that Commanders game was that the injury was significant. But Carroll did say on Monday that it was not as bad as they thought. And now we've heard that he participated in the walkthrough and is going to practice today. He's still hurting a little bit, but they actually think he'll be good to go for this Rams game. Now, I know that's not a huge deal. I know it's Dareke Young. I know he's not exactly the most important player on this team. He's a player who arguably doesn't even need to be activated for every game because he is low on that depth chart, but he's good to go. And honestly, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'd rather have Dareke Young than a guy like Eskridge. Dareke Young is more likely to find a creative way to contribute to the team, even if it's just for one play. He's a guy who will probably have an easier time finding that creative way of contributing to the success of the team. So Dareke Young did not suffer the serious injury that it initially looked like it could be. And he's supposedly not going to really miss any time. So good for Dareke Young. Excited to have him continuing to play on this team because, again, he's a unique player that adds some unique things. Next up, we got the update on Coby Bryant. He's another guy who's been on injured reserve, the short-term injured reserve. Carroll basically said that he is ready to come off injured reserve, according to Greg Bell, but they are not going to activate him yet because there's no room for him. Our secondary's playing really well right now. Witherspoon playing incredibly good. You've got, of course, Woolen, and you've got Trey Brown, who's been playing way above expectations for me personally. And then you've got the three safeties. And I'm not in love with what our three safeties are doing, but they're not playing badly. Like, that includes Diggs, by the way. Diggs is not making a lot of plays. Diggs is not, I think it would be fair to say he's not living up to his contract, because that contract stipulates that you're a playmaker to a certain extent, but he is playing well. Adams, not living up to his contract, but he is playing pretty well. And Julian Love, I mean, his contract's much smaller, so they're not playing poorly is my point. So there's no room for a Coby Bryant to actually get on the field and make meaningful contributions. He would just be sitting on the bench, so they feel like, why put him on the active roster and then not let him play? So he is healthy, though. He is healthy and ready to go, but until there's room for him to actually play, they're going to hold him back. So that makes sense, and we'll see if that ever happens this season. And final injury-related update for right now is from Michael Dugar on X as well. Kenny McIntosh is healthy enough to play, which I think we already kind of understood, but this confirms it. So he is being held out solely because there would be no opportunity for him to do anything. We have a pretty good situation at running back with Walker and Charbonnet coming in and out. I mean, we're not a great rushing team necessarily, but I don't think it's for lack of running back talent, so I don't think McIntosh is going to come in and change the formula there. And I know that there's this undercurrent of people trying to get DJ Dallas off of special teams, and I can kind of see it from the angle of DJ Dallas isn't going to be here next year, so we need to see what we have with McIntosh, because he's going to be the guy next season in all likelihood. But my issue with that is DJ Dallas is actually doing a really good job on kick and punt returns right now. I made that video about a month ago, and since then he has fumbled, but he gets what he gets about as good as any other return man in the league. And he's one of the guys who's doing it on both ends. A lot of guys only do good at one, and then they either don't do or they don't do very well at the other. But you look at his yards per return, DJ Dallas is up there. The thing with DJ is that he's not returning touchdowns. He's not getting 60-yard, 70-yard returns. But if you take a look at his ability to get another 10 extra yards or an 8 extra yards from return to return to return, it's actually really good. So I don't know if McIntosh is going to get out there as long as DJ Dallas is healthy enough to play. I mean, this last week was a great opportunity for him, and it didn't happen. So that kind of tells me it's probably not going to happen. All right, so those are your injury-related updates for now. We'll do another video for the practice report, assuming we get it later today. But things are looking good. At this rate, before long, the only significant injury, or even mildly significant injury we're going to have is Nwosu. And we already know the book is closed on that one. So I know some people are saying he might be back for the playoffs, but I doubt it. I very much doubt it. So if it happens, cool, but I'm not expecting it. But yeah, that's what we got. So mostly good news. Mostly good news right now. We are actually so healthy, we don't know what to do with some of these players. Guys like Coby and Kenny can't get on the field despite being healthy just because we got too many guys in front of them. Not a bad problem to have. All right, more videos coming later. Go Hawks.